Hi, my name is Barry Manandi and you're listening to the ZiFM Sport podcast.
Zimbabwe's finest radio. ZiFM Stereo.
It's Lionel Messi! He scored! The goal the world wanted!
It's time for the biggest sports stories.
It's Neymar trying to feed it through. It's a stretch and it's in! And I can't remember the last time I saw something like this. Extraordinary scenes.
The biggest interviews.
It's more difficult. Obviously, it's more difficult.
And all the analysis right here.
If they play poorly, they'll come back, they've got all the excuses. You can't have it both ways.
Every weekday, it's my sport, it's your sport. It's ZiFM Sport. Let's join the team for the biggest show in the world of sport on ZiFM Stereo. My station, your station.
It's Top Hit Tuesday. What we got lined up for you today? Well, in the beautiful game, Arsenal climbed up to third position in the Premier League last night ahead of midweek action as the race for a top four continues to heat up. In our Formula One report, we hear from rising star Charles Leclerc, who talks about his disappointment at missing out on victory at the Bahrain Grand Prix. And locally, Trojan Mine Stadium could get a renovation as the lack of standardised facilities to host Castle Premier Soccer League matches continues to plague local football. That is a lot to get through, but then with a team as good as we do, we'll get through it quite easily. That team is Mike Madoda, Alois Bunjira, Sean Tafirinyeka, who's on production, and me, Barry Manandi.
The Home Front. Local sports news and analysis. From Rufaro to Barberfield, Mandava to Nyamunga, all the perfect moments in the Castle Lager Premier Soccer League come together on ZiFM Sport.
We love to keep it interactive here on ZiFM Sport. So get in touch with us over the course of the next 49 minutes on 0731 168 045. The number again, 0731 168 045. Your thoughts, your views, your take, your analysis on the stories that we're giving you and anything sport. We're also on Twitter as well as Facebook. Follow and interact with @ZiFM Sport.
Now, Premiership new boys Mshwani Stars could play their home matches at Trojan Stadium in Bindura soon. A company has agreed to renovate the stadium to bring top-flight football to Mashonaland Central. A similar initiative has also been mooted for Ascot, with another firm set to give the Gweru Stadium a facelift in the next few weeks, while work will also be done at Sakuva in Mutare. Let's hear from football pundit Hope Chizuzu and friend of the show, who spoke to us about the lack of standardized football facilities in the country.
The situation is compounded by the fact that the majority of the Premier League clubs do not own stadiums. And the majority of the stadiums are also not owned by government, which perhaps would have made the situation a little bit better if for example, if the government owned the majority of the stadiums. They would simply go on an exercise to renovate this stadium, rebuild them, improve them. But the problem is the majority of the stadiums are owned by local authorities. Local authorities which are in serious, dire financial straits, which means clubs can only make do with those stadiums that are at least good enough or safe enough to host the Premier League games. And the fact of the matter that does complicate the issue is we have got this club licensing. So it's clearly a very, very bad situation for the local league, and the local league, their hands are tied. They cannot do much to try and help. We've got various examples. Look at Sakuva Stadium in Mutare, owned by the city of Mutare. For the past 4 seasons, it was unusable. Look at a stadium like Gwanzura in Harare, owned by the city of Harare. The city of Harare cannot have the stadium ready to be used anytime this year because of the financial constraints. So this situation is the same across the country.
Hope Chisuzu, they're talking about the dire situation in terms of stadium availability. You want to know just how dire it is? Only 9 stadiums have been approved by FIFA ahead of the 2019 Premier Soccer League season, and that started this past weekend. In Harare, National Sports Stadium Rufaro have been given the green light to host league matches, while Ulaya has Barber Fields and Luveve. Ngezi Platinum Stars Baobab, AFC Platinum's Mandava in Zishani are also fit to host games, while Nyamunga in Kariba and the Colliery in Wange and Gibo in Triangle complete the list of 9 stadiums only. The situation is really dire in Harare, but it's so good for Mshawani to be able to play out in their home stadium, out in Bindura, for that next generation to believe and dream.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it would have been a travesty, as it's been a travesty for football fans in Mutare who have not been able to witness top-flight football because the teams out in Mutare have been unable to use Sakuva and have opted to use Vengere in Rusape and other stadiums, which are, of course, located in Manicaland.
We had Mutare City last season, and yet they didn't play a single game at Sakuva.
Yeah, Buffaloes as well. Remember, in seasons gone by, they were unable to play their football in Mutare, where they would have had a healthy support base, where they would have had a healthy turnout every 2 weeks, managed to put a bit of coin in their coffers and helped stabilize their finances. So that's an opportunity missed. You take a look at the stadiums that are there right now. The stadiums that we can talk about as being up to scratch are the teams that are owned by the private companies.
Yes.
You're talking mainly of Mandava, you're talking mainly of the Baobab Stadium, Gibo Stadium out in the Lowveld, because those companies are actually investing something in those facilities and improving them and working on them. And the challenge is for city councils who own these stadia to do the same, and if they can't, to lease them out to companies or clubs or individuals who are able to do so and make these stadiums modern and something that can be of use to not just to football but to other sport in the country.
And it seems like a no-brainer, doesn't it, Bunj? I mean, in years gone by, the mining teams have always operated at their own stadiums. They've always developed their own stadiums. We remember the times of Cameron Motor Stadium. We had remember the days of Lancashire Steel when they were in the league. One Africa, I think, used the same stadium we're talking about right now. Mangura.
Even Nikrud were using some good stadium in Shurugi, but I heard that it was decommissioned, but they were ready to actually renovate. So you're very right about
So it's a no-brainer that there should be these type of public-private partnerships that develop our sporting facilities and bring them up to scratch.
Yeah, Mike brought in a very good point. Why are they hanging on to the stadiums when they are in serious, dire financial constraint, like
as articulated by Hope?
He just said, why are they hanging on to the stadium? I remember Chibugu Stadium, Magaya, Prophet Walter Magaya wanted that stadium. Yeah. And guess what they said? They said, renovate the stadium, we'll give you a 3-year lease. Who does that? How do we renovate the whole stadium and get a 3-year lease? like really? You see now, they need to just lease those stadiums to people that can maintain them, because they can't, and then they get revenue still from them. They can still get a commission from every game that play. They get a percentage from it. I think they will still get revenue than to make this stadium just die. If they lease this, let's say, to Manica Diamonds. They say, Manica Diamonds, we're giving you this stadium for the next 20 years. Fix the stadium. I'm sure they will be gladly take that and say, we now own the stadium for the next 20 years. It's our stadium. And then maybe Manicaland, the municipality will get maybe 10% for every match that is played there. I think that's the way to go. They hold on to the stadiums.
Mike, we understand that the renovations at Trojan are as a result of Net One. They've been investing in football, and this will be yet another investment. Since Lazarus Muchenja took over at CEO 2 years ago, it seems like they're making quite an investment in football. Is this generally a realization of the value in football by corporates? Is this the corporate world coming back to football? We've seen Dynamo sign a $1 million contract for sponsorship. Are these the green shoots that we needed to see that we can develop?
We've been seeing some green shoots recently. Net One, I think, in a big way, has followed in the footsteps of Delta Beverages.
Yes, certainly.
Delta Beverages have always been the biggest friend to football in the country.
And loyal.
And loyal as well throughout the years. They are, of course, the principal sponsor of the league. We've seen Net One come up in a big way over the last 5 seasons, where they've invested a lot in the principal clubs in the country, but have also moved now below Dynamos, Highlanders and Caps, and have moved now to your Black Rhinos, they've moved to your Chapungu, and now they're going into investing in facilities. So for me, that's a good move. We also seen recently when the national team played versus Congo at the National Sports Stadium, we saw an activity, some activities from Econet. So there's hope that Econet as well may be looking at what's happening in the football sphere and feeling like, you know what, there are numbers there. We are missing out and we are losing out to our rival Net One in that sphere. So we need to get involved in football, because there was always this theory that Econet does not want to get involved in football. So we're beginning to see some changes, but we still need more and more corporates to come in. This is not a job that can be done by 4 or 5 corporates, Barry. Internationally, we see that individual teams can have as many as 10, 15, 20 corporate partners per team. Okay, so we need the majority of our corporates, and we don't have a corporate sphere that's as big as South Africa or England or Italy or Spain, but there are a number of corporates and brands who are out there who got products and services that are suited to football that should be taking advantage of the platform.
And if you look at it, that sponsorship that Mike is talking about, the 15 to 20 sponsors per club, in England, for instance, goes right down until the conference. That's like 5 tiers down of football, whereby it's almost the equivalent of our social football, where they are beating away sponsors with a stick because they know that they're
Rushton and Diamonds will have the local hardware, a paint company, an insurance firm. They have localized sponsorships.
I think it's also a two-way thing. With the clubs as well, with the people in football, with administrators in football, they need to put the house in order as well. They need to quantify what they can give to the corporate. Sometimes you need the value. You need to add value to the corporate that you are trying to attract. Make them very, very aware of what they can get out of it. But if we just do corporate, these guys are not serious. They need to be to be seen to be doing something of great value, and everything, and then they'll come and say, you know what, you are doing a great thing, but you don't have enough money. But we can also come and partner you in this way so that we can build this thing together.
And I think, Barry, you brought it up, when you made your initial foray into the ZIFA election last year, where you talked about football needing to move from where it's corporate social responsibility to where it's a marketing proposition, where we are offering value as opposed to coming with a begging bowl.
Very, very certainly. And we understand that PSL chairman for Nigeria and the acting Youth, Sport, Arts and Recreation Minister Kazembe, he's acting, of course, because Honourable Kirsty Coventry is on maternity leave. They were in Bindura yesterday to put final touches to the deal for the renovation of Trojan Mine Stadium. And hopefully very soon Mshoani will be playing in front of a packed Trojan Mine Stadium.
Hi, I'm Clemens Matau, chicken in midfielder. You're listening to ZiFM Sports.
Let's give you the rest of your local sports news roundup, starting with swimming, where Mashonaland and Bulawayo provincial swimming teams are confident of winning medals at the South Africa Junior Level 2 Championships this week at the Polokwane Municipal Pool. A combined team of 19 junior swimmers from the two provinces left for South Africa with the spirits high, optimistic they will bring some medals home. The 3-day meet will start tomorrow and finish on Friday. The event will see teams from more than 10 African countries taking part, including hosts South Africa, Zambia, as well as Kenya. In athletics news, National Youth and Juniors Athletics coach Brian Nubu is happy with the progress made by most of the athletes earmarked for the Under-18 and Under-20 African Championships this month. The competition will take place from the 16th to the 20th of April in Abidjan, Cote d'Ivoire. Nubu said while they're still finalizing the team, there are positive signs from shortlisted athletes. And we wrap it up with football news, where according to sources, the Warriors are set to play the Super Eagles of Nigeria and two other high-profile teams in friendly matches as part of their Africa Cup of Nations preparations. A source said the Nigeria Football Federation had sounded out their ZIFA counterparts with an offer for the preparatory match to be played in Lagos next month. It is claimed that Nigeria has also offered a 3-week training camp for the Warriors in Lagos ahead of the AFCON set to kick off on the 21st of June in Egypt.
Need mileage for your business? La Decima Print House is your all-in-one printing solution. Your one-stop shop litho printing for all your flyers, brochures, newsletters, church posters, company profiles, annual reports, all quick BizHub digital stationery printing, dissertations and general, photocopying services, HP large format printer for office signage branding, vehicle branding, and banners, DTG M6 industrial digital t-shirt and fabric printing, corporate gifts, and many more. La Decima Print House has packages that can be tailor-made to suit your business's unique printing needs. To place your order, call La Decima Print House on 0772 413 603 or 242 446 466, or visit us at Unit 9B, 75 Roberts Drive, Masasa, Harare. La Decima Print House. If you can think it, we can ink it.
Here we go again.
Enjoy world-class radio online. ZiFM Stereo is available on TuneIn. Search for ZiFM Stereo and you got it.
International Sports News Roundup, where the world comes out to play. From sunny Melbourne to the streets of Monaco, the deserts of Bahrain to the jungles of Brazil, get up to speed on the Formula One report.
Ferrari believe they can take solace from the team's resounding return to form at the Bahrain Grand Prix despite the engine problem which cruelly robbed Charles Leclerc of a breakthrough Formula One win. The Italian team have launched an investigation into exactly what caused the power problem which dropped Leclerc from first to third in the final 10 laps at Sakir, although they've already confirmed there was nothing wrong with the MGUH element. Now, Charles Leclerc thought his Ferrari engine would blow up as a result of the cylinder problem that cost him his first Formula One win. Let's hear from the young Frenchman.
It's like this, it's part of motorsport. Sometimes it's just not your day, and today it was not ours. We've had an issue with electrical issue. I could not recover any more energy, and then we were just slow. So it's a shame today, but as all the team is disappointed, I am also. But on the other hand, they have gave me an amazing car all weekend long, and this is all their credits. The car was easy to drive, all the race was good until the issue, and as I've said, it happens in a race, but we took the best out of it. Anyway, first podium. Obviously, I'm not enjoying it as much as I wanted, but it's life. It happens, and we'll come back stronger.
Ferrari driver Charles Leclerc, we talked about him yesterday when we were given the update that he missed out on victory. And what a victory it would have been after dominating through practice and qualifying. And then, of course, he was momentarily robbed off the lead at the start. He had a poor start compared to Sebastian Vettel and Valtteri Bottas, but he worked his way up the field, hit first position, and it looked like it would be a procession until the unreliability of Ferrari kicked in.
That last part that you spoke about is the one that proves that he's the real deal. This boy can drive, and I think that we don't have necessarily just a 1-2 at Ferrari whereby Sebastian Vettel is number one and Charles Leclerc is just going to play a supporting role. No, we've got a team that's going to fight for honors amongst themselves as well, because I believe that Charles Leclerc is going to actually push Sebastian Vettel all the way, if Sebastian Vettel in fact is going to be in leadership, because it's just a matter of time before he wins a race. What a drive.
And talking about the competition, Alois, I mean, Ferrari allowing their drivers to compete. We're seeing the same approach as well from Mercedes.
Yeah.
Hamilton and Valtteri Bottas look like they have been told that, you know what, up.
Yeah.
We're not going to back anyone as the first driver and the second driver. Race and may the best man win. And I think when you have Ferrari doing that, Mercedes doing that, it's good for the sport.
Yeah, it is good. I was talking about it with my friends when we were watching the weekend race. I was like, let them just go at each other, especially Mercedes. They've been just allowing Lewis Hamilton to go and say, you know, last year they did that to Bottas. They actually asked him to slow down so that
a couple of races so that Hamilton go past him.
You know, I was so disappointed. You know, when is a new star going to emerge? If you are holding the youngsters back, let them just explode. If he wins, he wins. Then it's exciting for the sport. Now that Ferrari is doing it, Mercedes look like they are also doing it. It brings that entertainment value. Now Lewis Hamilton knows that if he doesn't perform, Bottas will just go past him and go and win. What better way to actually see Bottas maybe emerging as the winner of the ultimate winner?
Yeah.
I think it's good for it. It's good
the sport.
It's good
Yeah,
for
absolutely.
It's good for the sport, and also I think the Bahrain Grand Prix also showed us another thing, that Ferrari definitely has the pace. We knew that from testing in Barcelona right through the first Grand Prix into Bahrain.
And they dominated this past weekend.
They dominated this past weekend. So I think that we're going to see an inverted pyramid of last season. Last season it was Ferrari that dominated the first front end, and then during the break Mercedes went and did something, came back after the break, and then rocked and rolled. This time, I actually feel that these reliability issues are teething problems for the Scuderia, and I'm gonna say possibly towards the back end of this first part of the season, we're going to see the Scuderia get it right, and they're going to hit the front and never look back.
Ferrari, of course, are failing to win in Bahrain, but their performances brought them a lot of hope, and they, of course, had a big size, a huge chunk of an advantage over Mercedes all weekend. Just 2 weeks after finishing a minute behind their big rivals in Melbourne, Leclerc was 10 seconds ahead of Lewis Hamilton before suffering the crippling loss of power.
So let's look at the driver's standings as they stand after two Grand Prix. First, in sixth position, Kimi Räikkönen of Alfa Romeo on 10 points. Sebastian Vettel is in fifth on 22 points. Charles Leclerc, also of Ferrari, is on 26 points. He's in fourth position. In third position, Max Verstappen of Red Bull with 27 points. Then it's the Mercedes. In second position, Lewis Hamilton on 43 points. And out in front, 1 point ahead of Lewis Hamilton, is Valtteri Bottas, who is the number one driver at the moment on 44 points.
The race for the Constructors' title looking something like this. Mercedes way out in front, 87 points after two races, followed by the Scuderia Ferrari on 48 points. Red Bull is in third, followed by Alfa Romeo, who've had a decent start to the season. In fifth place is McLaren, and in sixth is Haas. Your next race is the China Grand Prix, and it's on next Sunday.
Hi, my name is Luke Baumute, Los Angeles Clippers small forward, and you're listening to ZiFM Sport.
Around the world in 60 seconds. International sports news.
America and Giannis Antetokounmpo scored 28 points, and 14 of them were in the fourth quarter as he led the Milwaukee Bucks to a 131-121 win over the Brooklyn Nets early this morning. The Bucks need one more win to clinch home court advantage throughout the playoffs. The Toronto Raptors kept pace with the Bucks in the race for the best record in the league by beating the Orlando Magic. Switzerland, Roger Federer says he is not very confident going into the clay court season. Now, although his Miami Open success has taken the pressure off him, Federer has skipped clay in recent times, playing just 2 days on the surface in the last 2 years. He has decided to return to the red dirt this season, probably starting with Madrid Masters, but he is worried about how quickly he'll adapt again to the highly specialized surface. South Africa, which is where we end. Sharks utility back Gerwin Bosch is reportedly on the Stormers' radar. Afrikaans publication Rapport indicated that Bosch, who can play fullback and fly half, is in talks with the Cape franchise. 21-year-old Bosch, who played 2 tests for the Springboks between 2017 and 2018, has struggled to nail down a spot in the Sharks' starting 15 in recent times and is eager to reinvigorate his career.
To all you Twitter heads, connect with ZiFM Stereo on twitter.com/ZiFM Stereo /ZiFM Stereo.
Fan Zone. Get in touch with the team and have your say your way.
Operator.
We'd love to hear from you on WhatsApp 0731-168-045. Drop us your thoughts, your name, and where you're listening in from. That number again, 0731-168-045. The big talking point on today's show is the infrastructure in the Castle Lager Premier Soccer League. The stadia, there are not many in our top flight. Only 9 have been approved, yet we have a league that has got 18 teams. What are the other 9 teams doing? Do we have any fans, any listeners with answers?
We got lots of messages, but just quickly, that averages out to 2 teams per stadium. It works out very nicely. Anyway, this message comes from Fulton. He says, "Hi guys, how can local authorities not be able to renovate stadiums when they earn so much money and drive very expensive cars that cost so much and guzzle so much fuel?"
He's just answered himself. They're driving big cars that guzzle so much fuel.
That's why they don't have money.
That's why they don't have money for the stadiums.
Can I ask a question in studio? This isn't a message, but fellas, remember that the councils earn money directly from matches being hosted in their facilities.
Yes.
What's happening with that, with those funds?
Exactly.
They're not plowing it back.
Exactly.
That's what it is.
That money needs to be plowed back into the
those facilities.
That's what we need to see, not them just collecting cash. If you take a look at Rufaro Stadium, if you take a look at the National Sports Stadium, those facilities, and of course the National Sports Stadium owned by local government, but they too collect a substantial amount of cash whenever that facility is used. What is happening to that money? For the National Sports Stadium to still be looking the same way it looked in 1986 when it was built is a travesty.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
They could just say, for every Cape United match, we are taking 50% of that money that we're getting to buy bucket seats. Every match that gets played, 50% of it, we're sending it to bucket seats.
Yeah, 100%.
Because my friend, I was there in the stadium for the national team. I arrived early around 1 o'clock. I sat on that concrete. It's not a joke.
Yeah.
It's not a joke, guys.
Your bums go to sleep.
It's not a joke.
That's before kickoff.
You just feel that's why people just watch standing now, because the bums are not being comfortable.
Nyama Shisha has an interesting perspective.
Is that Napoleon?
No, I'm not sure. It could be. It says even sports cars. It says even abroad, most stadiums are council owned, but it's the kind of lease locally that are irrational. So he reckons that the lease is irrational. He says this: Hammers recently signed a 99-year lease for London Olympic Stadium. Inter and AC Milan jointly lease the San Siro.
Yes.
The Ministry of Local Government must intervene for councils to release these now derelict stadia, because in truth, they're not unlocking any value out of the stadiums.
None.
They're just waiting for that 6% or whatever the percentage
Take a look at Gwenzero Stadium. Gwenzero Stadium is just lying there, fallow, like it's a paddock out in Machipisa. That could be leased out to a team that could use Herentals or Yada or whatever team. They could actually be using that facility. And then you take a look as well, Barry. I love the example that was the examples used by the listener in Europe. A lot of the stadiums that even are now privately owned have their genesis in the councils. Old Trafford is now privately owned,
but it started
off as a council stadium. Anfield, the same thing. All those stadiums. You take a look at the Etihad Stadium right now. It's actually being leased out by the council, by the the City of Manchester Council to Manchester City. A lot of those stadiums in Europe they follow that model, but it's a long-term lease, which allows teams to invest in the facility.
When you lease, the council still makes its money, except now they have no obligation to do renovations, to do anything to do with the stadium. They're earning their money. It's a lot cleaner.
I think with the Etihad, I think it's 4 million a season that they earn.
You see, but they're not doing
Manchester
anything.
City pays.
They don't have any obligation to renovating them or maintaining them.
Proper numbers. This one, you don't give us your name, unfortunately. You say, hi guys, any progress on the promise or threat by the minister that heads will roll, or Jakafa Jakadaro? I think it was in reference when Minister Honourable Kirsty Coventry said that regarding the national team, when the national team was barred from entering the National Sports Stadium.
You know what? When I initially read those comments from Minister Kirsty Coventry, I was like, okay, fine. But for me, she was just playing politics. She was playing to the crowd, to the gallery, to the disappointment, to the social media sentiment. In truth, I think she needed to be a bit more circumspect about her comments in the public forum, and to follow up, and not just to crack the whip on the ministry and put the blame on the ministry, because that was the popular thing to do, but to also hold ZiFA's feet to the fire and say, hang on guys, why are we having problems of this nature? The ZiFA team management, the national team management, come and sit here. Why didn't you book? Why didn't you make sure that all this was sorted? There is no reason why you should be driving to the gates of the National Sports Stadium and then having to negotiate your way into the stadium.
Failing to negotiate.
Listen, there's complicity on both sides here.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. This one comes from Sifelani Mongeni Mzobanzi Mlope in Ilanda. in Bulawayo, and it says this. Guys, our administrators in various sporting disciplines lack professionalism and direction. That's why our corporates are reluctant to partner with them.
Yes, that's what I was talking about.
Hence, our clubs have financial problems year in, year out, which is unfortunate for the players' welfare. Gunners last night did us proud. Proud Bosso, proud Baka Baka, proud Gunners, proud mighty Barcelona fan.
Oh, listed all his teams.
Indeed.
Love it.
And he's putting it right at the door of the administrators that they just aren't organized enough to attract the money that they require. This one says, that's why vanhu vachitiza kune zuva maslaba anopisa vakomana.
No, because I said there. I went there.
Which bay were you sitting?
I went to bay number 9.
You went in 9. We also went deliberately. We sat in bay 14.
Bay 14.
Luckily, bay 14 has got the shade. That's where the
at
Caps
least,
and the Highlanders fans sit.
Even bay 9, at least, by the time the game is starting, the shade is...
it would have swung round to that point.
Yes. But...
is it a problem, guys, getting back to the subject, is it a problem with our teams where we reward things like loyalty, we reward those qualities, and we then don't appoint the right people in positions? Because for me, there is a difference with how you operate in Division 2 and Division 1 compared to the expectations that are demanded of a Premier League team, where you need to have knowledgeable, competent, qualified people in certain positions. But we tend to find out that these teams carry the same structures from their formative years in Division 2, in Division 1, and try and carry those same structures with those same people making decisions, qualified or not, into the Premier League.
Yeah. See, the problem, Mike, I don't really have a problem with them coming with their people. But I've got a problem when those people, they don't want to learn. They don't want to go with the trend, with what is happening around the world of football.
And what's expected of them.
Then they will come with the ideas of Division 2. They want to come and do the same to Premier League. Now that's a problem. So I want somebody who realizes, no, what we were doing in Division 2 as Chaita Kuno.
We need to evolve.
We need to, we need to know what needs to be done here. What can we do now? We were playing in first division. But you know, as Zimbabwean football, let's go to Kaizer Chiefs. Let's go to Orlando Pirates. Let's go and see what the other clubs are doing professionally. Let's be better. You know, I want people that thrive to be better, to be the best. You know, not... Same thing in the Nyama Stadium, Mike. I'm happy that they're building that Trojan Mine Stadium. But are they going to just look for the minimum requirements by the PSL, or they're going to make a nice, cute stadium that's going to be like the envy of all the clubs in the country? Pretty nice, cute stadium, better than Baobab.
Yeah, so I think maybe the challenge, for those that are working on the stadiums out in Bindura, Mutare and Guero is not just to bring the stadiums up to scratch so that they can be past fit for use, but to make them, decent enough and better than they actually are right now. So rather than just fixing the showers and fixing the toilets and giving it a lick of paint, let's make sure that they're actually up to scratch. And that is the challenge. We thank Net1 for what they are doing, but we challenge them to do even more.
Worry not, guys. I'm a billionaire. Just lobby the council to sell me all the stadiums you want improved, and it's done.
Is that Bill Gates?
You don't give us your name. So,
it could be him.
Thanks for the offer, brother.
In every home they're singing Spotless, the brand that keeps your home pristine, with the stubborn stains or greasy plates. Spotless will surely clean everything. Oh, Spotless.
Enhanced dishwashing liquid, thick bleach, washing powder, scouring powder, and all-purpose cleaner. Spotless works all the time.
Coming up on Talk Time. Z.
My name is Lindy Prudence Nikis. I'm 32 years old. I used to be a sex worker operating in avenues, which doctors would use me to bring condoms and shandisani my clients angu for their rituals, only to discover all these men were dying. I will be sharing my story on ZiFM Stereo on Tuesday night, the 2nd of April, from 7:30 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. Tune in as I share my story.
With over 600 official world records, including the record for the most records, Ashrita Furman is pretty versatile. Now he has competition. The all-new Discovery with its 7-seat layout and plentiful storage is the most versatile Land Rover yet. Call Call Premier Auto Zimbabwe on 263 782 555 999 or visit landrover.co.zw and experience the exceptional versatility, technology and capability of the all-new Discovery. Land Rover, above and beyond.
Zimbabwe's finest free. ZiFM Stereo.
The big leagues, the big teams, the big players. The beautiful game on ZiFM Sport. All the rivalry.
The captain likes the touch paper. It is blue touch paper. Always him on Derby Day.
All the stars.
Absolutely brilliant again from Mo Salah. The twinkling feet, the ice cold finish, the Egyptian on fire.
And all the game-changing moments.
Aguero!
All the updates from the Premier League on ZiFM Sport.
This is the league we want to watch.
Our football roundup in the beautiful game starts in England, where Arsenal midfielder Mesut Ozil says he was satisfied with the team's 2-0 win over Newcastle that saw them leapfrog over North London rivals Tottenham Hotspur in the standings. With last night's results, the Gunners moved to third place in the Premier League standings, 2 points ahead of Spurs and Manchester United. Let's hear from former German international Mesut Ozil.
Yes, of course, we are very happy. So our aim was tonight to take the 3 points. We played very well. Congratulations to the whole team, and end of the day we are really happy. So of course my work is to give everything on the pitch. So like today, so I want just to help my teammates to win the game. So I think we play very well as a team, not just me, so as a team. And as I said, congratulations. So I think we are now in the third position. It was a long time ago, so we are really happy, can go and relax at home now. Our aim is to get to the top 4. So, of course, we are happy that we are in front of Tottenham. It's always competition with them. But I think, so if we play like today, we have a few more games in front of us, and we want to win. We want to take all the points to get in the top 4.
The man nicknamed Rambo, Aaron Ramsey, scored in the 30th minute, and Alexandre Lacazette added the second goal in the 83rd minute in a dominant performance at the Emirates Stadium for the Gunners, who have won 10 straight home league games within a single season for the first time since May 1998. And it's difficult to dispute, Barry, the progress that is being made by Unai Emery at Arsenal.
Absolutely. It's difficult to dispute it. And Here's the thing that I'm enjoying watching most, and it is that we are seeing, under a different manager, we're seeing the old Arsenal coming to the fore, which is bizarre. It means that Arsenal and what's happening at the Emirates is about the philosophy, the culture at Arsenal coming back under a new leadership, who's Unai Emery.
And Alois, Arsenal suffered a bit of a wobble. There's a time when it looked like, this could be a bad season for Arsenal. So, what's also been impressive is the fact that Unai Emery has been able to negotiate that tough patch and then come out of it stronger.
Yeah, you brought a point that I actually was waiting to actually bring. That, remember they started like a house on fire.
Yes.
Then they went off the boil and they started struggling, and that's where we see fans that are fickle. Mm-hmm. They're not. Some are not loyal.
Yes.
They're not loyal. Some were actually calling for his head.
Next season.
Yes, but you know what? He stuck to his guns. Mm-hmm. He kept on saying that I have got a plan for this team, and my methods will work. Mm-hmm. So he saw it. He had a bigger vision, and he kept on going, and you got the club back on track. And guess what? They are here now. And I don't support Arsenal. I don't like them a lot, but I enjoy watching them.
Yeah.
To be honest,
they've got a very attractive side when they play good football.
They're very attractive to the eye. They knock the ball around. I like teams that knock the ball, especially when they rotate it fast. They do that very well, and they go forward quicker than most teams. I love it. So he has done well, and I'm happy that he stuck to his guns. And when things were down, he was there and stood still. And there he is now.
And of course, Arsenal defending a lot better too. They've kept 3 consecutive clean sheets in all competitions for the first time since December 2017. As for the team, they vanquished Newcastle. They've lost 28 Premier League games against Arsenal. Versus no other side have they lost more in the competition.
There's action tonight. In fact, there's midweek action tonight and tomorrow night in the Premier Soccer League. But tonight is where we'll focus, where Nuno Espirito Santo is relishing the challenge of coming up against fantastic gentlemen Ole Gunnar Solskjaer tonight, but insists Wolves anticipate a totally different test to last month's win over Manchester United. Wolves beat United 2-1 in the FA Cup quarter-final in what was Solskjaer's final game as United caretaker manager before being appointed permanent boss. Ahead of facing Watford in the semi-finals on Sunday, Wolves welcome United to Molineux in the Premier League in a test Nuno says his players are well prepared for. Let's hear from him.
Every game is a new challenge. Especially, you have to realize who you're going to face. We're going to face a fantastic team, so we have to really compete well, be organized, be focused on the game, focus on the tasks, and knowing that the opponent that you have in front of us will require a lot of effort from you. Of course, that night was special for every one of us, for our fans, but it's a new challenge, it's a new game, it's a different competition now, and we have to compete well, and we are ready for it.
Now, Wolves had won more points against Big Six sides in the Premier League this season than any of the other 14 teams in the competition, and it's thanks in no small part to Nuno Espirito Santo. I love this guy, except his beard, but I love him. I can't stand his beard.
No, he's a good manager, but I think I also made a comment last week when I said I think he's tailor-made for Wolves.
Yes.
He's got the right players. He's given a lot of leeway. It's a perfect fit for him. I'd love to think that if given an opportunity, he might be able to do well at a bigger club. But it doesn't always work out that way, because remember, this is the same Nuno Santos who was fired from Valencia as well for not doing so well at that club. So, don't leave a good place unless you need to. And for him,
develop Wolves.
Develop Wolves, stay with Wolves. Keep them in the Premier League, improve them, get them into Europe. I think those are the targets that Santos should set himself. And then sometime later, the big clubs will come calling.
Exactly. He needs to establish himself first at Wolves and make them bigger and get them, to be one of the bigger teams that can be counted. Then he will say, I need a bigger challenge, because he hasn't been challenged yet. He needs the bigger challenge that he needs is to make Wolves better. And when you look at Wolves, most of the players he brought them himself. And now if he changes and goes to another club, there will be players that have been there for some time.
The bulk of his players are Portuguese. Players that he's got chemistry, a bond with. He knows well. Remember, he was a coach at Porto as well. So he brought in players that he knows, is familiar with, he's worked with before. It'll be different at another club.
Different at another club. And Bunj, you talk about a big challenge. Well, he's got a big challenge tonight, because he's taking on Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, a guy he calls a fantastic gentleman. Let's hear from him.
Because if we turn up against a good team like they are, not performing at our level, we will get the result that we will deserve. Last time we didn't really play well enough against them, with enough tempo against them. It was a different kind of game to many others for us. We had the ball 70% of the time. But sometimes possession doesn't mean that you're going to create chances and score goals.
Here's a guy who's been given a permanent job, Mike, but the results have been coming, not playing well. There's work to be done at United, isn't there?
Yeah, there's still work. I think United are still a work in progress. They're not at all the finished article. But what he's done is that he's managed to get United winning. And it's always good to do a rebuilding job when the team is winning, because the pressure would have been unbearable had the results been patchy, had they been losing games, had they been drawing, because now people would have been questioning whether he's the right man.
He wouldn't have got the job,
and people would have been saying, you know what, should we have fired Mourinho? We should have kept Mourinho until the end of the season, because we wouldn't lose games like this if we had Mourinho. There would have been too much of that vibe. What Solskjaer has done is get United winning, and for me, that's been critical.
That's not the only game tonight. There is other action. Watford entertain Fulham.
The league that makes football oh so beautiful. where artistry and strokes of genius are the order of any day. Where the game is played with a smile and the little master creates his magic.
It's Lionel Messi!
All the news from the Spanish La Liga on ZiFM Sport.
The goal the world wanted!
Let's give you a couple of updates coming out of Spain as well as Italy. Let's kick off in La Liga, where Ernesto Valverde says there is no good time to rest Lionel Messi as Barcelona prepare for a potentially critical week in their season. La Liga's leaders play struggling Villarreal tonight as they aim to at least maintain a 10-point gap to second-placed Atletico Madrid, who hosts Girona 2 hours earlier. The two teams meet on Saturday at the Camp Nou in a match that could effectively end Atletico's lingering title hopes before Barca travel to face Manchester United in the first leg of the Champions League quarter-final on April the 10th. Tonight's matches in Spain: Atletico Madrid versus Girona, Espanyol versus Getafe.
In Italy, Juventus coach Max Allegri accepts it will be difficult for Cristiano Ronaldo to return from his thigh injury in time to face Ajax in the Champions League quarter-finals next week. Ronaldo sustained the problem during Portugal's 1-1 Euro 2020 qualifying draw against Serbia last Monday and missed a slender 1-0 win over Empoli. Now, it was suggested that they were going to hold him back for the Cagliari game tonight and then AC Milan at the weekend and bring him back for Ajax. Doesn't look like that's going to happen. There is other action though. Juventus versus Cagliari and AC Milan entertain Udinese.
Horsepower unmatched. Torque to beat the best. Speed unrivaled. Sleek and easy on the eye. Let's get behind the wheel of football engineered to perfection. The Bundesliga, made in Germany.
It's Cup football in Germany. Tonight's DFB Pokal matches. Paderborn takes on Hamburg and Augsburg will take on RB Leipzig. Bayern Munich will be in action tomorrow when they take on Heidenheim. And this all coming, Alois, before Die Klassiker versus Borussia Dortmund. Borussia Dortmund now with a 2-point lead. It looked like Bayern Munich had all the momentum, but heading into that big match this weekend, Borussia Dortmund have got something to hold on to.
Yeah, I was disappointed when Borussia Dortmund lost that 6-point lead. Now it's only 2, precarious, but it's something. You know, it's something there on top now. You know, it's better to be chased than to be chasing. So it's gonna be advantage Borussia Dortmund when they go into that Bundesliga derby, and because a draw is good enough for Borussia Dortmund. So it's gonna be very, very, very important. It's a classic for me, and it's like a cup final, and whoever wins that one, I think will walk away with it.
Will probably win the title.
Yeah, I think so, but Borussia Dortmund need to hang on first for that 2-point lead until that match.
A very quick one here. Niko Kovac, will he have the temptation tomorrow to rest the bulk of his players ahead of that Dortmund clash?
Yeah, it's an easy confirmation. I don't think Heidenheim is going to cause too many problems. I think he's going to field possibly, if we can call it that, a second-string side, knowing that he needs to keep his players fresh for that cup final in inverted commas that's coming at the weekend.
Okay, we are out because we are out of time, but we're back tomorrow, 6:05. Let's do this again. Wacky Wednesday. We continue telling the story of UB40 in music, as well, of course, their life achievements. One of the greatest reggae pop groups to come out of the United Kingdom.
May God richly bless you. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Manande, out.
Be sure to catch ZiFM Sport every weekday on ZiFM Stereo. My station, your station.